Hello everyone. Today I will talk about my third book, The Cactus of Sanity, Huachuma in the World of Chaos. This book was written during the lockdown in Peru, exactly 5 years ago. I didn't plan it that way, it just happened that way. The idea of talking about my books came a few weeks ago, and then I started to make videos. And I wanted to respect the order in which I wrote and published them. So this is my third book, and I start writing when Peru just shut down its borders and we went into a long, nasty lockdown for over 100 days. So there was nothing to do, we didn't have any guests in the house because there was no planes in the sky. So there was really nothing else to do than just microdosing, taking some medicine home, and writing another book. I wanted to use the time wisely, not just watching the ugly news all the time. So at least I did something good during this time. So I wrote this book. Now, as I told you before, I love all of my books and I don't have favorites. They're all great. But I don't know, maybe this book has a special meaning because of the timing and all the emotional stress that the whole world was going through. And perhaps you would connect to it more too because it's also personal to you. Because you were locked down in the same time, just in a different location. We all became prisoners, put under house arrest without committing any crime. So in this sense, this book is more unifying. The book has many important chapters and many important, I would say, conversations in it. Because in my books I'm talking to you. It's not like I'm talking to myself. If I want to talk to myself, I don't need to write a book. I already know the stuff. It's all my experience. I'm talking to you before the book gets published. So maybe I'll start actually, this is important. Okay, chapter number 1, 2020, the year of chaos and great opportunity. You know what's interesting about this book? Because it came in a vision before we knew about COVID. I wrote an article on that. It was January, I think it was published January 5th, 2020. Days after we had a special ceremony on the January 1st of 2020. And usually I'm trying to do ceremonies, a part of doing the whole year, 3 times a week. I also try to do the last day of the year and the first day of the next year. So the idea behind it is simple. It's just the last day of the year is to express gratitude for the year, for everything that the year brought. And the next ceremony on January 1st is to express our intention, to put our own intention and start the year from that energy. So this was January 1st. I didn't hear about any COVID, any China, anything. But the ceremony was very difficult. It was heavy energy. I was sitting in the river and looking at the sky, and the sky were like dark and heavy, and in it I saw something entering Earth, something entering our world. I wasn't sure what it is, but it was the energy. It was some kind of like a cosmic energy, something entering our space. I thought, I don't know, maybe aliens or whatever, anything. But the energy was heavy and it wasn't friendly. And I thought, I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining this stuff, but I couldn't shake it off. It was the whole day heavy. I felt like I was holding planets on my shoulders all day. Jupiter, Saturn. And then I came home and I kept feeling the same thing, that something is about to happen in the world, like something big. So I thought, I need to write an article on that. I just published on Wake Up World. It's alternative news and health and spirituality website based in Australia. So they take all my writings and they never censor me. So as I said, they respect that they publish. That's why I like them. And that's why I write for them. So I wrote an article, I think with the same title. I'm not sure, you can find that. Just Google it up. And then published, I think, on the 5th. And then 3 weeks later, it was around January 19, when we heard about COVID in China. Remember those scary images when people falling down on their faces? That's what I'm talking about. So this is when I realized that, okay, so whatever is coming, whatever is there, that's what I saw in the medicine. I just didn't know what it is. I didn't know that they will throw a virus at us, But it was something big and global and very, very, very unfriendly, like evil. So this is when I knew that the vision wasn't my hallucination. I wasn't just imagining something, and I wasn't in a bad mood. I'm never in a bad mood. I'm in a great mood, always. Even if I'm angry, I'm still in a good mood. But if the subject matter requires certain response, then, I will be angry. And when I speak about this, it makes me very angry, still today. So I don't want to talk about that. This is not a video about what happened 5 years ago. This is just kind of to give you context. So this is how the book came about, medicine, writing, and that's how I spent a big part of the lockdown, which helped me a lot personally on a psychological level, because it was hard. It was hard for me too. It's not like I was immune to it then. Now I am, for sure. But back then I was caught like everybody else. I got scared. And not for me. I got scared for my kids, And then, it was like both. I got scared for my kids. And then I also got scared for us, parents. So if we die, we have 2 children. 2 young children. How they will survive in this world without us? So it was both. I was worried about my kids and about me and my wife, how we go through this. Because in the first week, I thought it was all real. I just, how it went down. You probably too, and everybody got scared in the beginning, Everybody I know got caught in it. Because the propaganda was very strong and global. And all this injection of fear through the media, that's what made it what it was. Total fear that was designed to make us submissive to, I don't want to say this word, because, I don't want to set the algorithm and have this video shadow banned or banned completely, So, but then after, of course, it was like a few weeks I was kind of glued to the news and starting to, better understand the situation. It was like about, I don't know, maybe in a month I started feeling better about it. Maybe 3 weeks, I don't know. But the first week or two was difficult. And, on top of that, now we don't have tourism. because we are entirely dependent on tourism. We are a healing center, and if there are no planes in the sky, we don't have people. So that was that was adding to the stress, the financial stress. Good thing we still had some savings left from the last year, so we could live, throughout 2020. The whole 2020 we didn't work. They shut down the border for 10 months straight. So it was a lot of stress around this, and of course other people and family members, and my wife's family, and everybody is scared, and it just was a lot of fear to deal with. Not necessarily my own. My own was in the beginning, but then it started to dissipate with more clarity. As I was receiving more clarity, the fear was dissipating. But it's one thing to cure your fear, but it's another fear to cure fear for another for other people. So it was a stressful time. So the book really helped me through this period, and the energy, the good energy, the positive energy from the medicine, from the writing, from being connected, from being creative during this chaos, during this madness, also was the energy I was bringing to my family. From my office, going back to my kids, to my wife, and that was very helpful too, because they saw me normal. A bit angry, frustrated, of course, but most normal. So seeing me that, they were normal too. They were becoming like me. Everybody became relaxed, and we just living their life. Very homey, doing things, cooking more, being together more. There was a lot of fun in it too, because we were closer together. Something we are not capable to do in life, because life is busy. School, ceremonies, a lot of things. So there was some good in it too. Kind of brought us closer together. Okay, let's talk about the book, because if I stay on that subject, then the whole hour will be just talking about that. And definitely I can spend a lot of time talking about that. I actually wrote books on that later. Books that follow this one. The fourth one. We'll get to that next video. So this book, it's really good book, guys. It's and girls, of course, with all respect. I think it was in this book when there was a chapter in which I criticized Plato. Can you imagine that? I never thought I will come to the point in my life where I will be criticizing one of the known, or most known, philosophers of all times, Plato. But this is what Cactus does, it just makes you see through people's minds, and you see how they see reality, and you see the flaws in it. And there is the flaws in it, there is a chapter, or there is more. It's the whole theme of rationale when the reason takes over. That's what happens. You become Plato, in the best case. The best case, he was a very intelligent person, but he completely was detached from his intuitive part. In fact, I could say that he was an intuitive retard. That's what comes across. I make solid argument that makes sense to people, because it makes sense to me. I bring the Shakespeare into it and put them together, and these are very different people. Very different. So a lot in this book is about mind versus the heart, reason versus the intuition, and objective reality of the heart. And it's very important, because the objective reality of the heart exists, and you can see it in many other philosophers, some of them, and poets, and just people who left a mark in history. So it's basically science versus religion, and spirituality is like, it's kind of developing the same theme that was in a masculine confession, but looking at it from another angle, maybe deeper. You decide. But it's very important. It's like, it's very important. If these things really like bothers you in life, and if you really are seeking for truth and seeking for guidance, and asking questions like, okay, do I follow science? Do I follow religion? Do I follow spiritual gurus? Who do I follow in life? Because for me it was a very valid question. Who do I follow in life? Until I came to the medicine and realized that I have to follow myself. But that's a whole another dimension. Before you came to this realization, before I came to this realization, I had to dig through many books and teachings and everything. There is a chapter number 5, titled, I Want to Be Me. This is the message. That's one of the messages. Because I want you to be you. Because that's where the truth is. But to get to this point, you need to do a lot of work. It's a lot of personal work you have to do, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of contemplation, a lot of plant medicine before you come to this realization. The shamanic bridge to a better future. Of course. How you can have a better future if your future is the same as your past? You will never change. Your life will never change. Your future cannot change by itself, because it's just the consequences of your past. It's your past stretched in time. There will be no change. You will not change. Your life will not change to the better. Maybe to the worse, yes, because if it doesn't go up, it goes down. If you want to change in your life, you have to change your consciousness. You have to wake up. That's what Huachuma does. It wakes your consciousness. It wakes you up and gives you a higher perspective through which you can see your life, through which you can see yourself, the world, and better understand yourself. When you better understand yourself, you make better decisions in life, and you have an opportunity to change your future, to craft your future, to shape your future from the present moment. Because in the present moment, that's the bridge, that's the place between past and future. The present moment is the now. It's right now happening. Right now I can create my future. I can shape my future. I can give direction I want. But only if I'm conscious in this moment and realize the past and the future at the same time. So the shamanic experience leads you to that. It gives you that opportunity to put your life on pause, step outside, zoom out, and see. See yourself. See reality for what it is. Receive insights, clarity, and guidance. That's what I wanted all my life. But I was looking for this, in all the wrong places. This is how I ended up in cold. That's in the first book, Path, Seeking Truth in the World of Lies. So this is how you change your life. Through plant medicine, through Huachuma. Very important. Then envisioning your life. This is already, I'm sharing with you how magic is done. This is how I do my magic. This is how I transform my life. This is how I transformed a hopeless existence into fulfillment, connection, contentment, love, beauty, and pure joy in my life. Pure happiness. So I'm sharing with you this. I'm sharing with you what I did to my life, to myself, and I'm sharing with you this, which is also from here become a theme to, in the future books, especially the latest one, Unplugged. We'll get to it sometime next week or whenever. So it's very important. It's like there is some fun part too, like the chapter meeting Patrick Swayze in the bathroom. Hollywood encounters Huachuma. I met the guy in the bathroom. You remember Patrick Swayze is the actor, Hollywood actor. He was like a Dirty Dancing or something, Dirty Dance. I don't remember exactly. I was a kid. I grew up with this movie. I never thought I would meet the guy in the bathroom as I'm taking a pee. So, but there is a point to it. It's not just meeting a famous guy in the bathroom. Who cares? But there is a point to it. Everything I say is meaningful. And if I put it in a book, that's mean it had to be there. That's mean it made a certain point that helps to understand everything else. A lot about Huachuma, many chapters about the healing, the beauty, the magic of it. It's like sharing with you things you will never hear from anyone else. I never heard this from anyone else. I came to this through my medicine, through my experience. Like Huachuma in the sunlight. I don't spoil the book, you read it. But there's a lot about like individuality versus collective, self-consuming consumerism. It's like life in the city, basically, life in the matrix, and what does it do to you? A big theme in my work. Huachuma Cactus versus techno-idolatry. You just need to read this. This is very important. Who is Richard Dawkins for Richard Dawkins? I also criticize this guy here. With all respect to this guy, he's intellectual, he wrote books, and he, maybe helped many people to see reality in a more rational way, but he took it too far, and this is where the critic is, because he is not different than Plato. Of course, Plato, it's not like he's as smart as Plato. I'm not saying that, Plato is Plato, but they both had the same problem. They completely ignored the intuitive part of human being, which has intuition, emotions, not intellectual knowledge, but the knowledge of the heart. None of them have that. Not Plato, not Richard Dawkins. They completely empty to me. I see them as just walking hats. Literally hats with legs. That's it. There's nothing there. So I had to share my take on it. Because he went on Joe Rogan Experience and I saw this and I was like, I have to clarify something about it. So I share something. Just important stuff. It's like, this book really can change your life. Like, you read this book, it can change your life. It's a big book. Like 352 pages. I had to do something during this crazy time. So it's very, I think this book should be like in every library, public library, and I would love to contribute. I would love to contribute all of my books. Free copies in big libraries in big cities. So if any of you want to take a lead and deliver, talk to me. I'll be happy to make this happen. These books must be read by people because these are not novels, these are not commercial products. I'm not trying to even sell the books. It's not these books are, it's not business, it's not about money. These books, all of my books are a part of course, being my business cards. These are important books that can change the way you see the world, can make you think about things that you never thought about. These are important books, and I already wrote them. Obviously, I did write them for me. That's for you. Read and think. And if you mature enough and thoughtful and willing to experience reality not through words of other people, but have your own first-hand direct spiritual experience, then you're welcome here. This is why I write, to bring you here. This is what my books are doing. They bring people here. from everywhere. I had people from Australia who just read 2 chapters and they booked the flights here to Peru to spend time with me here. And they read the book on the plane. Not one story. There are many people who say that. So the books bring people here, and that's the purpose of writing them. There is so much I can say in a video, there is so much I can say in person, there is so much I can say in an article, but there is a lot I can say in the book with 60,000-70,000 words. The purpose of my books is to deliver the message in words, the message of the medicine, the message of healing, to convey that which is impossible to convey, and to bring people to the medicine. That is the purpose. And so far the books are doing very well. They bring people from all over the world. So if you read my books and you feel resonance with my words, that means you are ready to meet me in person and have medicine together. Most likely we will become friends. At the same time, if you argue with me in my books, then there is no point for you to come here, because you will be arguing with me here too. What's the point of going through all this expense and to argue with me? That's not the best way of using your time and your resources. If you come here, that means you resonate with what I have to say about many things. You're welcome here if that's the case. These are the people we want here. People who resonate with our message. With my message in particular, but my wife and me were on the same page. So when I speak we, it's me and my wife. But the words are mine. So if you read my books and you feel resonance with what I have to say in them, that means that you're ready for the experience. You're ready to come to Peru and drink medicine with us and talk about whatever you want and find clarity, healing and clarity that you need to live a better life. Thank you for your time watching this video, and all the best from Huachuma Wasi.